Okay, my name is Shelbie Draper, and I'll be presenting on my project for defining sustainable scenarios of development in San Martin, Peru. So just a little background on San Martin. So it's a region in Peru, and it's actually very diverse. We have the Amazon there, the Andes, different plains, but it's also very diverse culturally wise. We see different migrants there from different areas in South America, as well as different farming communities such as coffee and plantains. And then we also see just a bunch of different local communities there as well. And so coffee is a really big part of Peruvian culture. It's the third largest producer in South America. And San Martin itself is the third largest producer of coffee within Peru, despite being a smaller region in the area. So we see just this big lifestyle around coffee, and this project specifically focused on those coffee farmers. So the sustainability problem. So the issues of San Martin has experienced a lot of issues with climate change. There have been seasons of prolonged rainfall as well as seasons of prolonged dry periods. So this has caused the farmers to do unsustainable farming techniques such as slash and burn to try to get to more soil, as well as not rotating crops. And so this has caused issues of deforestation, which ends up turning it into a cyclical problem because without the trees there's less protection from rainfall, as well as less shade for some of the more vulnerable coffee plants. And also, so we see them moving because the deforestation causes more problems. They end up trying to expand their farms further to reach more fertile soil. And when they do that, we see them moving to the protected areas within the region because the government has actually protected parts of the Amazon there. However, we see the farming communities moving there trying to find better soil and to grow more coffee plants. And so this has become an issue of maintaining livelihoods for the local farmers and the communities there. So the project intentions, originally, the scope of the project was for there to be a workshop in January. I was supposed to go to that, and then after that, basically compile what we found from there. However, that's changed more so into planning the workshop itself, as that date has moved several times now until now it's this May, the end of the month at the 29th and the 30th. But the idea behind using the scenario framework is using the 4-quadrant method to come up with 2 different axes. And with these axes, you have a scenario in each one, depending on what those axes are. For example, the one that we're working with right now is going to be rainfall and the use of slash and burn. So in each quadrant, you have an example of what that future would look like to these farmers. And so the point is to bring public awareness and also align it with the National Coffee Plan. So the National Coffee Plan came out about in December or November during this project. And so that was a big opportunity for us because we could align that scenario workshop, the scenarios itself, with the National Coffee Plan, because the National Coffee Plan comes with several strategies that actually include funding from the Peruvian government. So if we can lead the scenarios into that funding area, we're hoping to get money for new equipment, for example, because one of the strategies is sustainable practices such as stopping slash and burn. I'm also working specifically with Conservation International in the area. They've been there before, and more specifically with Miroslav Hanzik and Percy Summers. Also, a student from ASU is also on the project now, and another professor. So project outcomes, so like I said, it took a lot to get the date and location for the workshop, but it's officially settled. And leading up to that, what I had to do to build for the scenarios themselves were a literature review on the macro trends, because in order to build these scenarios, you need macro and micro trends, so basically things affecting the area, but also things within the area itself. So we mostly needed a literature review of studies that Conservation International had already done in the area, as well as overall things such as rainfall and dry periods. We also needed that finalized stakeholder list because with those stakeholders, we conducted interviews, and that's to see more of the micro trends and values within the region. Do they notice climate change? What have they done the past years that are different than usual? What do they value the most? Why do they farm? So those kind of things we needed to put together for the scenarios. We also need to have a national coffee plan kind of review just to pull those major strategies out in order to align our scenarios with that. And then finally, we had to create an agenda for the workshop itself. So it's going to be a 2-day workshop, what we're doing each day, the roles of each of our team members, and what they're going to present upon. And then finally, some lessons learned. It was very difficult because the workshop is in Peru, and so it's hard to get in contact with different people and work with each of them, as well as my team itself isn't really here. Like Percy and Miroslav are in Washington, D.C. No, Percy's in Peru himself as well. So that was definitely difficult, and there was also the idea of working with different political forces because the Peruvian government had to approve our workshop over there, and the Conservation International itself also had to approve the workshop happening as well as funding in order for it to happen. And so project and time management, not always my strong suits, and it was definitely made harder with the fact that the date of the workshop kept being pushed back. And so having to realign work schedules and make sure we're still staying on top of things. One thing I really liked was the idea of event planning. So putting everything together before an event itself was something I really enjoyed, and I liked using like my sustainable education to do that, as well as like my own, like I like planning parties, which is a little separate from this, but I like doing that. And so being able to do that for a workshop is really interesting to me. So call to action, like one of the awesome things that even though it got pushed back, so that made my part different, it also opens up more roles for other students. So after this workshop, we need people to compile the data learned, and so that way it's not just a workshop, oh, here's the workshop, here's the strategy, but we need people to actually put them together and to actually create policy change and get that funding in the area, as well as continuing monitoring and evaluations for the people that are there currently. Yeah, so thank you. I don't know if that's